Hey everyone, noise barriers are structures that are designed to shield residential and commercial areas from noise pollution, typically caused by highways, railways, and industrial sites. Now, these barriers can be made from a variety of materials and they're designed to fit seamlessly into the environment. So for today's video, I'm counting down the top 15 amazing noise barrier designs. Starting with number 15, holographic noise barriers. The future appears to be now, or at least it seems like it when we look at holographic noise barriers. Why? Well, because they seem like something straight out of a science fiction book. So what are they? Well, it's a far cry from traditional noise barriers because it uses dynamic visual and acoustic effects to reduce noise. So unlike traditional noise barriers, which rely on physical structures to absorb, reflect, or block sound waves, these crazy little ones use images. Alright, so how does this work? Well, by projecting dynamic holographic images or patterns onto transparent or translucent surfaces, these images and patterns create an illusion of depth and movement. Now, this can be a whole whack of different things, including geometric shapes, patterns, or other visual effects, and the images interact with the sound waves to diffuse, absorb, and redirect noise. That sounds crazy. I mean, well, it's not really, it's just science. And in addition to the visual effects, holographic noise barriers incorporate acoustic elements. Now, these elements can be integrated right into the holographic surface, or they can be positioned behind it to enhance the overall effectiveness of the barrier. Now, there's sensors in there too that can monitor things like real-time noise levels, traffic patterns, or even environmental conditions. Now, using that information, the images can be adjusted to better optimize the noise reduction. They can create visually appealing pictures and designs on the surfaces they're being projected onto, and as such, they add a touch of modern flair or even a sprinkle of futuristic elements to public spaces, streetscapes, and buildings. Number 14, earth berms. Ever wandered through a lovely landscape only to have the experience disrupted by the rumble of passing traffic? Well, enter earth berms, a cool and effective noise barrier. So what are they? Well, they're basically mounds of earth that have been sculpted and strategically placed to eliminate noise. But they don't just block noise, they basically cradle it, absorb it, and deflect it. It's really all about the science of sound. As noise waves collide with the berm, the waves are met with resistance. Now, some waves bounce off and others are absorbed by the soil, and some are even redirected upwards. Earth berms are also eco-friendly, which is kind of cool, and since they're built from earth, they also be a haven for wildlife, and with a little creative flair, they can look really nice too. Earth berms are often built alongside roads to shield nearby residential areas, schools, or parks from constant clamor of passing vehicles. Some industrial areas also utilize these earth berms, such as factories or manufacturing facilities, to help mitigate the impact of industrial noise. And of course, they can be found in residential neighborhoods where they're used to create privacy barriers between homes and busy streets. And finally, earth berms can sometimes be seen on military bases and training grounds, where they're utilized to dampen noise generated by military things like artillery fire, test firing, explosions, and other training exercises. Natural and aesthetic, earth berms are a pretty easy way to get rid of unwanted noise in a number of noise-polluted places. Number 13, traffic noise walls. Alright, let's face it, highways are not quiet places, so to mitigate the noise pollution of vehicles on the road, something called traffic noise walls are built. Now, these walls can be pretty impressive, with some spanning several miles. They basically just serve as physical barriers to absorb, reflect, or deflect sound waves, effectively reducing the noise of busy highways and surrounding areas. They're commonly made out of solid concrete, since concrete's durable and easy to maintain and cost-effective. Now, they can vary in thickness and height depending on how busy the highway is and the level of noise reduction required, and it can be also made out of brick, stone, or even wood, though. Brick and stone traffic noise walls can provide the same effective noise cancellation as concrete ones, but they're a little more aesthetic. When made from steel or aluminum, these panels can be perforated or even textured to further enhance sound absorption. Plus, they look a little prettier. And lastly, there's wood, sometimes used to build those walls. Treated lumber, for example, can provide a natural-looking wall while maintaining an effective barrier. They came about when population density increased and people started to complain about highway noise. However, there have been significant advancements in traffic noise wall tech over the years, and they're now used in highway infrastructure projects all over the world. Number 12, solar noise barriers. So for those looking for a little added bang for their buck when it comes to noise barriers, then solar noise barriers have got you covered. Now, these are photovoltaic (PV) noise barriers, as they're called in a fancy scientific term, and they're innovative structures that serve a dual purpose. Not only do they reduce noise pollution from roadways, but they're also harnessing solar energy for electricity generation. So, solar noise barriers are typically installed alongside highways, major roads, or railways in areas where noise reduction and renewable energy production are top priorities. So how do these things work? Well, like traditional noise barriers, solar barriers are designed to absorb, reflect, or deflect sound waves generated by passing vehicles. This, of course, helps reduce the noise pollution in places that don't want it, like school areas and residential neighborhoods. However, in addition to this, solar noise barriers are equipped with photovoltaic panels. Now, these panels are integrated right into the structure, and since they're solar, they can convert sunlight directly into electricity. And then that electricity is used to power nearby facilities, street lights, or other infrastructure, or in some cases, it's just fed right back into the electrical grid. These panels are often mounted to the surface of the noise barrier. Sometimes, though, they're integrated right into the structure to create a visually appealing, seamless effect. The supporting structures are often built from steel or aluminum or reinforced concrete to make sure that there's enough structural support in the solar panels. All in, these solar noise barriers are pretty effective, both in their noise cancellation and in their electricity producing prowess. Number 11. Inflatable noise barriers. You ever been somewhere and found that it was unexpectedly noisy and wish you had a way to cancel out all that unexpected noise? Well, you might not know this, but there's already a solution for that. Behold the inflatable noise barrier. It's an easy-to-use transportable object for all your noise barrier needs. Well, like noisy construction sites, for example, or outdoor events like concerts, these barriers are exactly as they sound. They're air-filled chambers or compartments that create a barrier between the noise source, like unruly party guests or crazy loud construction, and sensitive receptors like your ears or your neighbors. Inflatable noise barriers consist of a series of interconnected air chambers and compartments that are made from durable, flexible materials like PVC or polyurethane. These chambers are inflated with air to create a lightweight yet resilient barrier that can easily be inflated and adjusted. They definitely help reduce the intensity of noise transmitted through the barrier, so the environment on the other side is protected from the noisy onslaught. They can be quickly inflated and installed on the spot, so they're a go-to for public events like outdoor concerts. And once the event is over, they can simply be deflated, folded, and stored for future use. They're quick and cost-effective, lightweight, and very durable. Truth be told, inflatables can do some pretty neat things, and noise barriers are just another check mark on the list of all the cool applications for these inflatables. Number 10. Gabion walls. So going back in time a little bit to an old school design, but a highly effective one, gabion walls have stood the test of time for their noise reduction abilities. Now, these are structures made by stacking wire mesh baskets or cages. Now, these cages and baskets are then filled with rocks, stones, or other sorted material. These walls are commonly used in civil engineering and landscaping projects for various purposes, including erosion control, retaining walls, and yes, noise barriers. The reason they work so well as a noise barrier is because of the porous nature of this wall allows sound waves to penetrate the structure, where they're then absorbed and reflected by the irregular surfaces and void spaces within the wall. This helps reduce the intensity of any noise transmitted through the barrier so the sound is diffused. These walls are typically filled with heavy material, rocks, stones, gravel, and even recycled rubber. And as such, these walls have pretty significant mass and density. Now, that mass helps to block and absorb sound waves, particularly at lower frequencies, making walls more effective at reducing both high and low frequency noise. Now, these walls come in all sorts of heights, lengths, and configurations, and basically can be built to suit whatever is needed. For example, they can be easily shaped to fit the contours of the landscape or to accommodate existing infrastructure. And because they're often built using durable materials like galvanized steel wire mesh with natural rocks, they're also weather-resistant and ultra-low maintenance. Number 9. Sound-absorbing windows. Windows, I guess, aren't just for admiring the views anymore, at least not when they're sound-absorbing windows. These windows, or acoustically insulated windows, which I have in the vocal booth here, are specialized windows that are specifically designed to reduce the transmission of external noise into the interior spaces. So yeah, they're made to keep the outside noise where it belongs, outside. These windows incorporate materials and construction techniques that absorb, block, or dampen sound waves, so the interior of the building stays nice and quiet. So what makes them soundproof? Well, it's all about the layers. Sound-absorbing windows typically consist of multiple layers of glass that are separated by air, sometimes gas-filled spaces. These layers can have different thicknesses and densities and angles to effectively block and absorb sound waves at various frequencies. In addition to the multiple glass layers, some of them also include sound-absorbing materials like laminated glass, acoustic films, or even specialized window seals. These materials make the windows all the more soundproof by helping to absorb and dissipate sound energy. So not only is the glass itself designed to mitigate noise, but the sound-absorbing windows also feature special frames, seals, and mounting techniques to make sure that no noise is getting through when the window's closed. And of course, like all normal windows, these sound-absorbing windows are customizable. They come in all shapes and sizes to accommodate different architectural styles and aesthetic preferences. And unlike other noise barriers, which are made of stuff you can't really see through, sound-absorbing windows are transparent, of course, so you can see what's going on outside without having to hear it. Number 8. Metallic noise barriers. As we've already seen, noise barriers come in all shapes, sizes, and materials, metal included. Now, metallic noise barriers are exactly as they sound. They're noise barriers made primarily from metal. Common metal materials include steel, aluminum, or other alloys, and they're typically constructed from metal panels or sheets, and then they're supported by metal frames or posts, so it's metal on metal, which is pretty metal. The panels can be solid or they can be perforated depending on how much noise they're trying to block, and obviously solid panels provide greater sound blocking capability. However, it's important to note that perforated metallic noise barriers will still let some sound through, of course, and they work by reflecting or absorbing sound waves. Perforations do absorb or reflect and diffuse sound waves, so why use metal as a sound barrier? Well, they're weather resistant for starters. This makes them a good choice for anywhere that has inclement weather. Steel, aluminum, for example, are resistant to corrosion and rust, and they won't break down from sunlight exposure or moisture, so they're pretty much a long lifespan. Plus, they're strong, so they'll keep their structural integrity for a long time. And they can also be further enhanced by smacking an extra layer of corrosion-resistant paint or coatings to help them last even longer. Moving on to number 7, tilted concrete panels. So it should come as no surprise, concrete is often used as a noise barrier. But tilted concrete barriers aren't just your ordinary run-of-the-mill concrete noise barriers because, well, they're tilted. These tilted concrete panels, or aka noise reflecting or sound deflecting panels, are a unique type of noise barrier that are designed to redirect sound waves. So what makes them so effective? Well, it's all about that tilt or angle. Now, these tilted concrete panels are constructed that way and typically ranging from a 30 to 45 degree from the vertical. Now, this angle design helps them reflect sound waves upwards, away from the ground and the surrounding areas that don't want the noise. So instead of sound waves traveling horizontally, these tiled concrete panels intercept and send them into a different vertical trajectory. So unlike traditional noise barriers that rely on absorbing or dissipating, these concrete panels reflect everything. While some sound energy may be absorbed or diffused by the concrete material, that's not its real purpose. The primary purpose is to redirect the sound waves. They're usually installed in staggered rows or alternating patterns to make them even more effective, so they're especially useful in areas where there's continuous noise, since they aren't absorbing the noise so much as redirecting it. They can also be decorated, painted, or integrated into landscaping to make them pretty and aesthetically pleasing. Plus, since they're tilted, they already have an interesting look inherent in their design. Number 6. Smart pavement. So by this point in the video, you've seen quite a few noise barriers that are installed along highways. But what if we could stop the noise at the source, as in right on the road? Well, thanks to something called smart pavement, we actually can. Smart pavement is a type of road service that's designed to reduce the noise of traffic right at the source, on the road. It is a pretty innovative design, and since this type of pavement incorporates some pretty advanced materials, technologies, and design features, they all work in tandem to absorb, deflect, and mitigate those pesky sound waves. So how does it work? Well, it can incorporate sound-absorbing materials or surface treatments that dampen the sound waves generated by tires as they interact with the road. These materials can be things like porous asphalt, rubberized asphalt, or specialized coatings. It can also feature texturized surfaces and patterns and minimize tire road noise, and some smart pavement designs even include features aimed at dampening vehicle-induced vibrations. This can include things like resilient materials or layers within the pavement structure itself, and the pavement can also feature porous pavement designs to help water permeate the pavement so there's not as much noisy splashing or spraying when it rains. And finally, smart pavement can have sensors and monitoring devices embedded into it to collect data on noise levels in real time. This allows for more targeted noise reduction in areas that need it. So basically, smart pavement has the ability to incorporate noise barriers right into the highway infrastructure itself in a highly effective and innovative way. Number 5. Mass-loaded vinyl barriers. Mass-loaded what? Well, if you've never heard of mass-loaded vinyl noise barriers, you're likely not alone. Mass-loaded vinyl barriers are a highly effective soundproofing material. In fact, they are renowned for the ability to significantly reduce noise transmission in various environments. I have some built into the walls in my vocal booth. Now, as the name suggests, mass-loaded vinyl noise barriers are composed of a very dense vinyl material. The material's infused with heavy additives like calcium carbonate or barium sulfate. This combination of the vinyl and the additives creates a flexible yet very dense barrier that's really good at blocking the transmission of sound waves. In fact, because they're so dense, they prevent sound waves from passing through them. They're really handy in loud places like work sites with noisy machinery or to block out loud, rowdy neighbors. And although their name is a mouthful, they're surprisingly flexible and easy to work with. Installation can be pretty straightforward too. Using screws, nails, or adhesives, this mass-loaded vinyl barriers can be hung on walls, fixed to ceilings, or stuck on surfaces. These noise barriers are commonly used in commercial, residential, and industrial places. Basically, they can be used anywhere that needs a little more soundproofing. Number 4. Reflective panels. When it comes to sound barriers, not all noise needs to be absorbed. Turns out that reflecting the noise can be just as effective. At least that's the theory behind reflective panels as a noise barrier. They feature smooth, hard surfaces like metal or glass, and they allow the sound waves to bounce right off of them. So if there's a noisy highway on one side and a peaceful park on the other, with the reflective panels, the sound won't reach the park because it's been bounced off into a different direction. They come in at different heights and lengths, but the height and length of the reflective panel is important factors in determining their effectiveness. Taller panels obviously provide greater coverage and blockage of noise and can't go over the top of them, but longer panels help create a continuous barrier because the noise can't go around them. So the height and length depend on the type of noise being created and the location of that noise. Sometimes reflective panels are installed in staggered rows or zigzag patterns, and this prevents the noise from getting through the gaps in the barriers. Because they're often made of metal or glass, though, they can come in a lot of different colors, so they can be incorporated into the surrounding landscape. Because let's be honest, no one wants an eyesore of a noise barrier that's painted an ugly orange. Instead of complaining about the noise, people would likely complain about the visual aspect if the noise barriers don't look nice. So reflective panels preempt those complaints by being visually appealing. Many of them are also transparent, so they don't block out the landscape. As such, transparent reflective noise barriers are the obvious choice for places where people want to keep their views wide open, so along train tracks or along scenic stretches of highway. Number 3. Foam barriers. Foam. It's not just for pits in gymnasiums or giant merchandise fingers at sporting events. It's also a highly effective noise barrier. In fact, it's a really common type of noise barrier used in all sorts of places, from recording studios like this one to offices to classrooms to home theaters. Wherever there's sound you want to reduce, the foam has got you covered. Foam noise barriers are specialized materials designed to absorb and dampen sound waves, and they're most commonly used in indoor settings. They're typically made from soft, porous materials with open cell structures, so stuff like polyurethane foam or acoustic foam. These materials are lightweight, flexible, and they're really good at absorbing certain frequencies, which makes them the perfect choice for indoor areas. The porous structure of this foam allows the sound waves to permeate the material, and from there the sound waves are absorbed or then dissipated as heat energy, so the intensity of the noise is reduced within the enclosed space. And foam noise barriers are pretty easy to install. They can be cut and shaped to fit specific dimensions, and they can even be mounted on walls, ceilings, or other interior surfaces with the help of some simple and handy adhesive, nails, or other fasteners. So they are pretty versatile with a wide range of applications, and this is why foam noise barriers are a go-to for recording studios, where they're used to minimize sound reverberations and reflections, in offices where they're used to reduce ambient noise, and in home theaters where they're used to minimize pesky external sounds. Cost-effective, customizable, and easy to install, foam noise barriers are perfect for anywhere indoors that could benefit from a little sound absorption. Number 2. Portable acoustic barriers. Certain places are notorious for their noise: highways, construction sites, and railway tracks. In these locations, permanent, sturdy noise barriers make sense. But what about places where noise pollution is temporary, like outdoor festivals or backyard parties? Constructing a large permanent noise barrier for those events would be impractical. Enter the solution: portable acoustic barriers. They're designed for on-the-spot noise control. They're easy to transport, lightweight, and often collapsible, which makes them ideal for various temporary noise issues. While inflatable noise barriers are a notable subset of these, there are other types of portable barriers offer unique solutions, like foldable noise screens. These consist of flexible panels or screens made from materials like reinforced fabric, PVC, or vinyl. Supported by lightweight frames or poles, they're easy to store, transport, and set up. Though not as effective as concrete barriers, foldable screens significantly reduce noise at small outdoor events like backyard parties or weddings. Then there's modular noise walls. These acoustic barriers are composed of individual panels or sections that can be connected or stacked to create a custom configuration. They're made from durable materials such as steel, aluminum, or composites, and they're flexible and can be deployed wherever there's a temporary noise problem. Then, portable acoustic fences. Freestanding and designed for quick assembly and disassembly, these fences are constructed from materials like wood, metal, or PVC. They incorporate sound-absorbing elements such as foam or fiberglass, making them ideal for reducing noise and maintaining privacy. How about roll-up sound curtains? These curtains are made from heavy-duty vinyl or fabric with sound-absorbing layers, easily rolled or folded for storage and transport. They can be quickly installed to cover large areas. Waterproof and effective at blocking sound, they're perfect for outdoor events. Portable noise barriers are not only useful for backyard parties and festivals, but are also employed at construction sites, sporting events, concerts, industrial facilities, and temporary work zones. Unlike permanent barriers, these portable solutions are versatile, easy to set up, and transportable, making them a very popular choice for managing temporary noise problems. No matter the noise reduction or absorption needs, there is a portable acoustic barrier for every situation. Number 1. Living wall sound barriers. If you've ever dreamed of canceling out the noise in an environmentally friendly, natural way, living walls are the solution. They're known as green noise barriers or vegetative noise barriers. Now, these include structures that combine real, living vegetation with soundproofing materials. Not only do these barriers reduce noise pollution, but they also grow and thrive, blending seamlessly into the landscape. Living wall sound barriers are typically having a framework made from steel, aluminum, or wood. Now, this structure supports the layers of sound-absorbing materials such as soil, foam, or specialized acoustic panels. The final layer consists of dense vegetation, vines, shrubs, and other greenery that act as a natural sound absorber. As sound waves pass through the foliage, they're dampened and dissipated, while the plants also block and deflect sound waves, further reducing noise pollution. Now, besides their noise-reducing property, the living wall sound barriers offer numerous environmental benefits. They improve air quality by filtering pollutants and capturing carbon dioxide, provide habitat and food for wildlife, and enhance urban biodiversity. Their aesthetic appeal adds a touch of greenery and natural beauty to urban and industrial environments. Customizable with various plant species, colors, and textures, these barriers can create visually stunning landscapes along highways, railways, or urban parks. Living wall sound barriers also present educational opportunities and can promote green infrastructure benefits for noise reduction and environmental conservation. They can be installed in public plazas, parks, and balconies and other urban settings, contributing to healthier, more livable cities for people and wildlife. The blend of nature and technology in living wall sound barriers offers a sustainable and aesthetically pleasing alternative to traditional noise barriers. Their effectiveness and beauty make them the top choice on this list of the 15 most effective noise barrier designs. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you next time. Thank you to our channel members.